I'm Vicki Howell here for another Yarnier exclusive event in which we bring you experts, artists, and business owners that I've met in my travels in this industry and whose products I really truly love. And I'm so thrilled to be able to bring to you within our monthly boxes. And this time is no exception. I'm really happy to bring a longtime industry vet neck and neck with me as far as how long they've been around. And that is Daphne Marinopoulos from the Fibre Co. Welcome. So happy to have you here. Hi.
Thanks for having me, Vicki.
I'm so thrilled. It's really funny to me that whenever I'm speaking with someone that's been in the industry, for 20 years, as I have been, you would think that we would see each other and talk to each other all the time at events, but especially the way that things have changed over the past decade, but for sure since the pandemic, we just don't anymore. And so we have to do things like this to actually speak. So I'm happy to have this opportunity. And I'm really thankful to have you in the Yarnier October box. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But first, will you tell everyone, before we jump into the gorgeous yarn that's probably distracting everyone like it is me behind you, about your journey? Because we are in a time, unfortunately, and it's been like this over the past decade, where companies are struggling, and you've been able, this is your 20th anniversary, correct? Like you're right there.
This year.
Will you, first of all, props. Second of all, will you tell folks a little about your journey within this industry and with the Fibre Co., which now has spanned locations from country to country?
Wow, it really has. And that's exactly what it's been, a journey. I sometimes say that 20 years and in the same, paragraph or the next sentence is, but I still feel like a startup, because we've had so many evolutions and changes along the way. But the beginning was that I like to knit, and I liked a certain type of yarn that I didn't see too many of them 20 years ago on the retail shelf. So I got introduced.
What was that? Like, what is that? What does that look like?
Well, like natural fiber yarns, and with some, it was at a time when hand dyeing was not that big of a thing. It was starting to come in, but not that much. And or if it was it was maybe a certain type of hand dyeing that maybe I didn't appreciate or that I was looking for. And so I just said, well, I wonder, how this all works. And someone introduced me to the maker of these small mills called mini mills. They're made in Canada, and they're designed for growers of fiber animals that wanted to add value to their raw material once they would have a shearing. And so you would put the mill in the barn, and then you would wash the fiber, and out would come your yarn at the other end of the mill. Well, I bought one of these mills with the idea of putting it in an urban environment. We lived in Portland, Maine at the time, and it was still a little bit of a working fishing type waterfront, not really strong, but a little bit. And there were a lot of old buildings. How
do you go from liking to knit to buying a fiber mill?
Buying a mill, yes.
I feel like we've missed something. What were you doing before?
Oh, well, I trained as my very early years. I trained as a pilot. I was a flight instructor for.
That's why I love this industry. It's so unique. There's so many people from different walks of life. It's like it's such a rich culture, as far as backgrounds go.
Yeah, those are my very early days. And then I studied business and accountancy, and I became a CPA. And then I did all aspects of that. I was a controller for a services company, and then I went into the foreign service, and I lived overseas in Africa for several years, and did auditing of aid programs that the US government gave to developing countries. And then I went into management consulting and large systems implementations, and I was on crazy projects like NASA and their assets, and it was this whole other world.
Okay, but hence the reason you're still standing with that kind of foundation. That's incredible. Did you work for the State Department?
Well, with USAID, which is kind of an arm of the State Department, yeah. And I was based in Dakar, Senegal, and we covered a 26 country region in West and Central Africa. And so it was a lot of travel, and it was a lot of fun. It was something good to do at that point in my life. But I knew I didn't want to do it forever. And I think if I have a story of my life, it's, what's next. And although I've been doing this for 20 years, it does seem quite long. There have been lots of evolutions of it. So we started, there was a transition period in my life. I had been living in the UK, and I met my husband. We moved back to the States, and I thought I needed to be flexible to help my parents with elder care and that sort of thing. And so I thought, I'll start a business. And I thought, I want to do something that I'm interested in, and something that was a hobby. And knitting it was something that I did on airplanes flying around Africa. I'd have my knitting needles, and people used to look at me quite strange. But it was a hobby, mostly in my adult life, although I learned as a child and dropped it for a while. And so I thought, what is there around my hobby? And we had all kinds of ideas come up. I thought at one point I wanted to have a bakery. And then I thought, there were so many ideas. But I got introduced to this mill because, I know what it was. It was someone I knew who was an alpaca farmer. And she knew about this mill, and she thought, maybe this would be something I'd be interested in, because she knew that I liked to knit and liked yarn. So I bought the mill. And then so that was it. And we started by producing yarn for farms. So that's how kind of we cut our teeth on that, so to speak. But I soon got started on developing my own yarns as well. And we had a small retail shop next to the mill. The mill was located on the working waterfront of Portland, Maine, right where the cruise ship terminal was. And so people would come off the cruise ships, and if they were yarnies, they would come in and check us out. And then I heard about this thing called TNNA, the National Needle Arts Association, and that they had these trade shows, and you could go there and show your wares. And so we did that. And it wasn't long before we could sell everything we produced in the mill 6 months in advance. So that was you say, well, that's good, but it was also really uncomfortable, because you knew you weren't providing the service that the customers wanted. They had to wait so long. Mm-hmm. So then we learned how to maybe outsource some of the yarns, but we still did all the hand dyeing. And then after a few years, we realized that we could get some of the hand dyeing done for us, because by this point there was more and more need for it, because the market was interested in it. And so we met a group of artisan dyers in Peru and traveled there and worked with them on our technique so that they could get it. And I would say what our technique was, and still is for a couple of our yarns that are hand dyed, subtle duotones, as in fact most of our palettes are quite subtle in our luxury range, what we call our luxury range. And so we went down to Peru and worked with them and got what we needed. And so overnight we went from being able to sell everything in advance for 6 months to becoming a company that had hundreds of kilos of yarn on the shelves in the warehouse, and we had to learn how to market it. So then then that comes into learning about how to create designs, because up until that point we really didn't have any patterns to go with our yarns. They were different. In fact, our tagline back then was unique artisan yarns, because they really did look different.
Yeah.
Today, quite common, all the different hand dyeing techniques and everything. So it's so it was a journey, and eventually we sold the mill. And then my husband is from the UK, so we moved back here for family reasons, and we live in northern England. And today all of our yarns are made by mills. We work with 2 mills in Peru, we work with a mill here in the UK, and we work with a mill in Ireland. And so we don't do any of the production anymore. We don't even do any of the hand dyeing anymore. The hand dyeing is done for us. And I would say that now what I spend most of my time on is working on pattern development and color development for the yarns. And of course, I wear all the other hats too. This week, I'm doing nothing but order processing because our star order processor is on holiday up in the Isle of Skye. And so, you know, we do it all. We wear all the hats around here. And I like it all. I like to see, I hadn't done order processing for a while, so it's been really good for me to see what it's like and try to come up with some more efficiencies and that sort of thing. So all aspects of the business are enjoyable to me. The sad part is not connecting with people so much anymore face to face, because that used to be a lot of fun. We would always do a couple of trade shows a year. And then also we would usually do a couple of shows to consumers as well. And so that was, you know, a good solid 4 times a year, I'd be in front of the customer of one type or another. And you just learn so much and you get so much feedback. You make great friends. Yeah, all of my best friends these days are from this industry, because you just collect so many experiences and memories along the way. And it's been a lot of fun. So
what an incredible journey. And your adventurous spirit is truly inspiring, because not only obviously there is adventure in learning how to fly and teaching others to fly, but it's just as big of a leap to invest in a mill and then invest in, you know, hundreds and thousands of kilos of yarn. Like every single one of those steps is a leap of faith or a leap of confidence.
Well, I don't know. You know, I think sometimes looking back, it all seems crazy, but in the moment, it was all like, let's go.
I mean, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And good for you. So
yeah.
Tell me a little bit. So the yarn that we're featuring in the October box is from a second line that you have. It's under the Fibre Co umbrella, but it's kind of its own thing, and it is the Anake line. And I was really, when our rep came in, and that's, by the way, the only rep we've ever had come in for for the entirety of Yarnier. I've just called up friends, or I've just gone, you know, started looking and approached. And so this was great. Like, they booked you. I know this is what people do, but this is not what we normally do. And so
Yeah.
it was a treat. And I really was drawn to this line because it felt very modern, and it has a little nod to pop culture, which is sort of where my comfort zone is.
Yeah.
The color names, and then also having the environmental aspect be at the forefront of its very being. It was also something that I really was drawn to. So if you would talk to us a little bit about this line, and then we can talk about the yarn specifically, or all of it at once, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Unmake range was born of the idea that as I've been in the industry, and I've expanded my understanding of, you know, what's sustainable and what isn't, and there are far more shades of gray than not. It's not black and white, and what's natural and what's not, and all of these things. And so I used to say, well, we can't have lower cost yarns, because, you know, if I go lower cost, I'm going to have to use materials that aren't good or aren't sustainably sourced, this sort of thing. But in talking to one of our mill representatives, and I was explaining my desire to be more accessible to more people, because not everybody can afford it. If some people know the brand, they might have heard of a yarn that we have called Road to China Light, which is just an exquisite, super top of the line, has everything in it that's wonderful, and it comes with a price too. Instead of just having that, is there a way that, you know, we can still meet our own kind of ethos and desire to source sustainably and have it be natural, or you know, if there are some fibers that are recycled. I was just open to anything, but yet also be at a price point where it could be a little more accessible than our current range. So we started working together on this, and that's how the Anake range got got born, so to speak. So, and we launched it with 3 different weights. And what we did to bring into it is we had the idea of it definitely needing to look different, so that your, the color palette is something that I wasn't really comfortable with, and I had to ask for help from people who, have a broader color sensibility than I do. And it worked out great because, I called up all of my friends' daughters and said, come on over and help me, look at some colors for this. And so, yeah, so we ended up with a super bulky in the range, the Aran weight, which is what is in the box this month, and a DK weight. And they're all 3 different blends, but all of them use Highland wool from Peru, which is just that it's not as fine of a count. It is ultimately a wool that comes down from the merino line, but it is it's definitely not coarse. It's not coarse, but it's just lovely. It's the really finest of the finest merinos, so we can get it at a slightly better price. And similarly with the alpaca, we use an alpaca that is not the baby, but it is, certainly still nice and lovely and lofty. And so the super bulky is the 100% Highland wool. And what we did was, because the Highland wool comes in naturally brown colors, we did the natural ecru and the natural brown gray color, and then we overdyed both of these, so we can get some colors that are really poppy, like the bright yellows and things, and the bright blues. But then if you take that same dye formula and you go over this gray base, you can get a more subdued palette. So then the palette has this pop and then subdue and pop and subdue, but it all goes really nice together. So the super bulky is 100% Highland wool. The Unmake Aran is 50-50 of the Highland wool and alpaca. And then our DK weight is the same blend, the alpaca and Highland wool, but we threw in a little bit of linen just to give it a bit of hairiness, shall we say. And it's a really nice lightweight, for the spring, summer type garments, but it, autumn as well. It's great for that too. So that's how Unmake came about. And I'm guessing that, our rep came in with a little booklet like this.
Yep. I know, they're so beautiful.
That is quite a stunning, palette, and we're real proud of it. It was a group effort. It wasn't just me sitting here conjuring all this up. I had a lot of input from a lot of people, and we had all kinds of names for the range, but we wanted it to be fresh and modern, appeal to all ages. It wasn't just, for, say, youthful knitters, more youthful knitters. It was for all ages. And the focus to me was more coming from accessibility. And so you could have, a price point. You could have an entry to the Fibre Co brand that was, not the highest of prices. And so that was the goal. And so that's the Unmake range.
So for the Aran, I love the alpaca. I love that it gives it just that whisper of a halo. It's also, when I did the unboxing the other day, I said, I wish we had field of vision, because it is just so, I
heard that
because it's lovely. It's delightful. There's a lot of bloom to it. So there's a big range of needles that you can use, that makes it even more accessible, meaning that you can plug and play with a wider range of patterns. And with names like Spill the Tea, and I believe you have one called Betty White, like there's just all kinds of lovely nods to pop culture, which just makes, for me, that's part of the adventure, part of the journey. I love a theme. I love little wink winks. Yes. I love anything that can open up a conversation with somebody else. And, sometimes just what you're working on is enough, but sometimes it's these other little things. And I really believe that this line nailed it. So we're so happy to have folks are getting either Mona Me or Spill the Tea. We're surprising them with that. But then we have some options if they want to use both. We have some bonus projects as well. And you've been so kind to donate a scarf pattern as a bonus project. Did you see the wrist warmers that were?
I most definitely did, and I don't are we saying yet what your other projects are, because that scarf? Ooh.
Yes, we are. Now it is all released. We are shipping now. Yes.
Okay, all right, good, because I'm looking for a scarf for my husband, and usually he just ends up getting a ribbed scarf, and it's like,
the brioche
I can't
scarf?
make him another ribbed scarf. I've got to do something special.
Yeah.
And I've been looking and looking and looking. That's going to be it. That is crazy good.
Which one? The brioche one or yours?
The brioche one.
Yeah, the brioche one. So that is one that is, if people, buy an additional ball from us, well, they'll actually need to, but then that pattern is free to them. And this is a fantastic yarn for brioche because of the loftiness, that with the springiness of brioche, so good.
It is really
stitch wrist warmers are so classic and gorgeous and beautiful. I think that people are going to be stocking up and making gifts, not only in the colors that we provided, but hopefully in some of your other colors. Hopefully they're supporting their local yarn shops or going directly to you. So maybe you can share some of those other colors. You've got a few.
Yes, absolutely. They're kind of behind me here.
Okay.
And I will pick some up here. So this is an example of, well, you can see
it's a little blurry when you get that close.
Oh, okay. Let me back up. Yeah. How's that?
Yeah. And you can just pull one off or two, whatever you want.
Okay. All right, good. Let me do that. So the two colors that these were the two colors in the in the box, right? And when I was saying that we have the gray base and the white base, that these two orange here, they're the same dye formula, just one's dyed on the gray and one's dyed on the white.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, you really get a different color. And then similarly, we have let me see what this one is here. Yeah, this is another one that is similar to that, but it's green. So these are the same dye.
Wow, that's so cool. Oh, I love that. And they would be great together in a project.
Yeah, they would be. And this is called Spearmint, and this is called Kawabunga.
Love it. Love it.
So and we have another lovely bright green here, Borealis Bash.
Yep.
And these are, here's another two that are dyed on the cream and then on the gray base. And this one here is called Wink, and this one is Potion. And we've got this one, Hot Like Me, and oh no, this is Hot Like Me, and this is Meal Pink. We have another here called Hyper Blue. I really like this color.
I really like that. That's a hot color for this season.
Yeah. And this one here is called Skylar.
Love it.
And this is the natural gray base in and the natural white base. There's really 20 colors in the whole range.
That's a fantastic range. Love it. And they really all work well together with one another.
They do. They really do. Yes. And we also wanted to I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but we also wanted to offer some prizes too.
Yeah, we'll do that at the end.
Some giveaways. Yeah.
So you have to keep watching if you want to see that.
You have to keep watching, yes.
We'll do that next. But first, before we do that, I would be remiss if I did not ask about the garments that are over your shoulder for what?
Yes.
Talked about what they can make this month, but you have a whole range of patterns that folks can check into using all three of the weights. If you like the Aran weight, but try the other two weights as well. Dive on in.
Yeah. So, Vicki, all of our samples are out on trunk shows right now. So for the Unmake Aran. So I thought, well, what can I show? They're literally all out on trunk shows. So I thought, what can I show? And I thought, well, how about a sneak peek of what's coming out in the spring?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
So I thought, literally my sales reps haven't even seen these yet. So.
Oh, will you hold them back towards where the picture is behind you? For some reason it gets, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
How's that?
Oh, I love that.
This is in Unmake DK. And
you
it's
can tell that there's the linen in it. You can see the
you can tell the linen. And so next spring we have a little collection coming out for the Anake DK. And so there's this cute little top here. And this is a lovely sweater.
Oh yeah, that, I mean, that's just a
simple, but it has a nice little stitch on the bottom. And it's kind of a waffle stitch, but it's still a lightweight one done on bigger needles. Another little top.
Yeah, that's a great little top. It's almost a dolman. So cute.
Oh, this is a top. This is an indie top that'll be coming out soon from JST Knitwear Designs.
Cute.
We're not publishing that, but she's had it out on her Instagram, so I'm not showing anything that's not to be shown, but but this is definitely an exclusive for spring summer 24 from me, because I haven't shown it to anyone. Oh. And this is a lovely cardigan.
Yeah, that's a great
with this
staple
open stitch down the back of the spine. Yeah.
That's a great layering staple piece for sure.
And we have you can see kind of, I don't think well, I'm not sure you can see it here or not, but if you can you see it? Not
lovely, so much. Lovely. Well, congratulations. These are all beautiful. I'm really happy with the yarn, and so happy that it is a part of the October box. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody making the things, all of the things. They should definitely go and search out all of your products. Ask your local yarn shops to carry it if it's not already if they're not already carrying Anake, and make some large garments for sure. All right, let's do this. So we are going to, you've been so generous to announce a couple of giveaways. So tell us about them. Little pictures will pop up as you talk about them. And then I will tell everyone what they need to do to enter to win.
Okay, great. Well, we have 3 kits that we would like to give away. And one is in Anake Super Bulky. And it's for the Jagged Ridge Beanie. And the kit will come with 2 balls of yarn. And it'll come with this cute little shoulder bag.
Cute.
And the pattern. So that's the Jagged Ridge Beanie.
Great.
The second kit is the Trail Finder Cowl. That's an Anake Aran. That too will come with the Anake bag, project bag, and the pattern, and 2 balls of Anake Aran. And then the third kit is the Flushed Feet Slippers. Will come with 2 balls of Anake Super Bulky to make a super cute pair, or 2 pairs of slippers.
Oh, that's fantastic. 3 giveaways, so generous. So folks, to be eligible, you need to be a subscriber of our October box, and you can find that October box, which includes a ball, 2 patterns, one by myself and one by Gabriella Tremino, plus 2 bonus patterns, scarves. First start there, and then you need to go on over to the fibreco.com, fibre spelled F-I-B-R-E, co.com. Grab something that inspires you. It could be a link to a ball of yarn. It could be a garment, whatever it is. Grab that link, post it in the comments section of this video so that we can see what's inspiring everybody. And we will choose those 3 winners. You need to do that by, let's say we're going to do that by Friday the 13th, because it's Halloween month and I like to do all of the things. 11:59 p.m. Central on Friday the 13th. You just need to subscribe to us and post one of those links, and we will contact you and make sure that we get you those kids. Daphne, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the partnership and all that you've done to work with us so far. So thank you. And
my absolute pleasure. And I thank you, Vicki, because it's been fantastic to be a part of this project with you as well from the very beginning. It's been lovely to work with you and your team. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad. Okay. Hopefully we'll see each other in person at some mythical thing in the future that may not even exist anymore. Here's hoping.
Who knows how it's going to work?
I know. All right. Thank you so much.